That's totally fine. Yeah. Thank you for asking. Your mic is right there. Do you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool, right? You have
Am I
to.
supposed to talk to it?
Yeah, you can pull it in front of you. Nice, right?
Yeah.
Ah, I can hear you.
Oh, wow. This is very official.
Give me a test.
Dick pic.
Yeah, that's right. A while ago, you coined dick pic as the official.
I mean, it's the perfect test cue.
Yeah.
Because when you're like test 1 2, test 1 2, I feel like you want plosives in there, which is like
But also,
yeah.
right? Because test 1 2, you don't get that.
Duh.
All right, so Nat, this was highly requested. Somebody slid into
Really?
slid into your DMs.
A few people did.
Oh, really?
Actually, yeah.
Wow.
Slithered in.
Yeah, they creeped on in there from
Yeah.
Patreon all the way over to Instagram.
Yeah. I've actually had a few people tell me that they've discovered me through you. But the ultimate discovery is that they realized I'm much more entertaining than you are.
Yeah, that's
So-
what I heard. I heard some people. I think that you were reaching out for some attention, and people just were willing to shit all over me and say that
Yeah.
you were the funny one.
Yeah.
You were more interesting than me. So we got you here on the Secret Podcast. So actually, it's funny because I was actually going to rename the podcast. I was thinking about renaming it to Matt's Podcast or...
But this is the thing. It's like no one cares about Matt,
That's good.
but we all love secrets.
That's actually a good point. It's just,
I mean, you're assuming that people actually care about Matt.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. But then secrets, yeah. But the thing is, it felt a little bit childish to me, but I told you about it and you were like, yeah, no, it's pretty good.
But
Just
then
go
you've
for it."
actually put legitimate secrets on the Secret Podcast. Like,
Yeah, like one.
yeah,
Also the
a
fact-
big one. The fact that we got married in Vegas. My best friends, my bridesmaids, did not know that I got married in Vegas. And all of Matt's Patreon subscribers knew that I got married in
Yeah.
Vegas.
I also told them recently that I was going to divorce you. So that's another secret.
Oh, that's a secret. I'm really just discovering that
Exactly.
now too.
Yeah, but it's a secret podcast. So
I love
that's,
secrets.
That's why we're here.
It's a good secret.
Yeah. So people sent a bunch of questions in through Patreon, through the comments, and I pulled them up here. I figured
Okay.
we can go through them and kind of just answer people's questions about you, me, our relationship, and it'll be fun. But first, I think a lot of people probably don't know what you do. We haven't talked much about your work. Where do you want to start? Maybe Cliff Notes, like does an Australian end up with an American?
Oh, that's a different question altogether.
But
right?
but I think that's obviously like a segue into like I think it's very interesting the fact that you came to the United States without a job.
yeah.
So I mean, 4 years ago, you had no idea where you were going to go with your career.
Yeah, I'm Natalie. I work in advertising. Basically, everything Matt stands against advertising,
Yeah.
I do. So I work for a media agency, and I work in brand strategies, so helping brands understand how to create needs from nothing.
That's not quite it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm painting myself like I'm a monster.
Yeah,
But-
and also you're paying me like I'm like Mr. Anti-Ads. I think actually having your perspective and knowing what do.
I'm actually interested because I thought you were Mr. Anti-Ads. So.
No, because I mean, all my friends are content creators and they all have advertising. I know very few people who don't do advertising. I'm not against.
I know that you don't judge people who do advertising,
I'm
but
against-
like I know it's not for you.
Yeah, but I'm mainly against unethical advertising. When advertising manipulates, when maybe advertising to children,
Exploitative.
exploiting,
Yeah.
trying to like lying, obviously. And there's a lot of stuff when it comes to political ads, and it can get pretty dark pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I think that it's like we should be more mindful of it, and I think there's lots of
Yeah.
people who do it right and do it well. I think what you do is very interesting because it's more so understanding the market and understanding why somebody might like watch a movie, for instance.
Yeah. I mean, I work on an array of different clients and brands, from like retail to restaurants to technology,
Yeah, you work on a lot of different brands, but what's like you work in strategy. So what does that even mean? And you could actually pull the mic a little bit closer.
The way I define what I do really is I just think I'm a problem solver. So, and I actually think I would think of myself as a creative problem solver because basically what happens is I have to understand how to solve like really business challenges for brands. And it's not just through throwing money at a problem, but like trying to understand what are the trigger points for consumers and then like what are the trends in culture that brands can latch onto and learn from and respond to that allows them to be more relevant to a certain audience, in a certain culture. It's like, that's probably a little bit confusing.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense to me because like I hear about it all the time from you.
Yeah.
But it's like, but you have many disciplines in terms of like, you have to know numbers and understand the facts behind the market you're trying to get to. And then there's a lot of intuition that's built into it.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that so marketers and clients speak in numbers. They understand numbers. It's like we need to raise sales by X percent. We need to get X percent of traffic in store. We need to, they understand numbers and we almost need to give a solution to them that's almost number based. But the problem is that consumers don't care about numbers. People, like we're humans and we care about stories. What's persuasive to us is a story and a reason to believe if you don't believe in a brand's purpose and how they can provide value to your life, whether that be tangible or intangible, then you're not going to buy them and you're not going to align with that brand. So I agree. I think like the craft that I practice in brand strategy is half balancing the numbers because my client is a marketer, but my client's client, the consumer, is a human who understands stories. So like I need to be able to craft a story, but then prove its worth in numbers, if that makes sense. It's kind of a balancing act.
It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like definitely left and right side brain, but I really enjoy it.
I think that you would really like Seth Godin. I know you don't read a lot of books, but I'm like, just even the book I'm reading now, Seth's got a new book called This Is Marketing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I feel like you would align with a lot of those principles. And I think it would
I should read it.
You should read books.
Yeah, I should read books.
You don't like reading.
I just got a book from Puno.
That's right.
It's right next to you.
Our friend Puno, who was on the Ground Up show. And also, this is actually Paul Jarvis. The book's called Company of One. He's actually going to be on my YouTube channel soon. But it's all about how like staying small and all that. You're not gonna read it.
Of course I'm gonna read it.
You are?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna read it. I read the inside cover and it looked really, really good.
Yeah.
So I've already started reading it.
In a way, you didn't read the first sentence though. It doesn't count. The cover doesn't matter. That's like marketing. But
no, I'm excited to read it.
Briefly, I guess the brief gist of your story for those that don't know from, obviously not from the beginning, but let's just say like, why'd you decide to come to the States? Why New York City?
Yeah, I love travel and I love exploring and I like putting myself in situations that challenge me. And I think that travel is one of the best ways to do that. But not just travel, but also like moving somewhere and living there, especially when you don't know anyone, you don't know the city, you're far away from your sources of comfort, like your family and your friends and your hometown. So I... and I'm still in my 20s, but like in my earlier 20s, I knew I wanted to definitely move to London. But that was always like to get a visa to London as an Australian under 30 is very easy. So I had a limited time offer to move to the States as a recent graduate, basically, and be able to work from the States for a year. And I was like, well, that sounds like a great opportunity. If I hate it, it's a year. If I find that it's really hard, it's a year. I can always come back. And I'd never really explored the States. And I was like, and then when I come back, I can go to London. I've got lots of time. So I moved to New York, having never been to New York. I didn't have a job lined up, which was actually, to me, ideal. And I designed for that. Or maybe I'm just saying that because my ego's bruised from trying to find a job. Yeah. No, I really didn't really start looking for a job.
You wanted to have time to like explore.
Seriously, until I got there. And I wanted to like explore and settle in and, the way that I was still again in my young 20s. So I was like, it'll be great if, if I find a job that's relevant to my career. If I don't, I'll work behind a bar or I'll work in a store. It'll just be fun. And we'll go from there. And so I ended up, I was unemployed for the first 2 months. And then I snagged a job working in consumer insight research, which was awesome. And then I met you and ended up staying for more than a year, and now it's almost 5 years.
Yeah, right.
So
I ruined it all.
Mistakes were made.
Yeah, it was 3 months I think 3 to 4
know.
months into being in New York, we happened to meet. It's
Yeah, it
just
was 3
kinda
months. Yeah.
crazy by chance.
So and then moved with Matt to LA a year and a half ago.
Cool. So let's go. I think that's enough.
Okay.
I think that's enough. I think that's enough, Natalie pitting. Let's get to some of these questions from people. And starting with somebody named This Is E. Before I release any video, I always play the end result to my wife to critique it. She is very devoted and passionate about my work and absolutely every single time notices typos, errors, and reasons for improvement. Do you guys have a similar process? Do you get a second opinion before upload? Does Natalie watch your videos on a regular basis?
Your wife sounds amazing.
She sounds amazing. Natalie does not watch my videos before. You don't watch them before.
And I rarely watch them after.
I want to say you actually do. You never watch or listen to my podcasts, which I wouldn't expect you to because they're so damn long and you can hear me talk all day.
Yeah.
Or actually, you can't hear me talk all day because it gets a little old. But for the videos, I think since I've started to put more time and energy into my videos, and each one's kind of like a movie where I'm like cracking jokes and I'm being really thoughtful about it, I think you'll usually catch up on them or you'll watch them in bed.
Yeah, like I watch them after you upload it. I don't have your creative vision does not benefit from my input. I feel like you have really good intuition, and I haven't been, when you have opened up the floor for me to like input before you've uploaded, I'm like, yeah, this looks good.
So I think you've developed a lot as a storyteller, like you were saying early on. I mean, when we first started dating, you weren't really much of a storyteller at all. I think you were creative and you have a lot of creativity from your past and doing like theater and acting and all this stuff. But I do think that you have developed that skill quite a bit and have been able to help me a lot. For me personally, I don't like really showing my videos to anybody before I release it. Yeah. I don't think any video I've made on my YouTube channel I've shown anybody before I've put it out there.
Yeah.
And it comes from, I just remember early on showing people my videos I would make, like my parents. I would like the parody rap videos I used to make, and I would show my mom and dad, and I would just wait for this feedback, and I would have this expectation that they would laugh at certain points, or they would, you know what I mean? I was kind of like, that's where I based my worth, whether it was a good project or not, based upon a couple people's reaction.
Yeah.
And I just realized that that's not worth it, because you're also trying to force a reaction from people.
Yeah.
And it's good to know how people respond to the work that you're making, but I think that will more so limit you from ever putting it out there to begin with.
And but I do think that like I do sometimes help like with like creative ideation, especially for like more of your skit style work.
Yeah, you helped me recently with a dick joke. It was this is like the most recent thing I remember where it felt like a little inappropriate, a little silly. It was in my video, The Era of Upgrades, and I was making a joke about how people with big trucks, they have big trucks because they're trying to hide the size of their big ego.
Oh, yeah.
And then I said, and now if you want to show your ego, all you have to do is reach into your pocket and pull out your penis. I mean, it was like, it kind of came up, I think, on the fly when I was doing the first initial voiceover for it. And I was like, just because when I was like, I just realized the connection that I was like, oh, that'd be kind of funny if I said penis, because it's like phone, like people would expect me to say phone. And I was not going to do it. I had decided to cut it out. And then we happened to just be talking about work, and I was talking about this video I was making. And then I told you like, oh, I was thinking about doing this joke in the video. And you're like,
do it.
You got to do it. It's like, come on. Like usually people, when they talk about minimalism and these kinds of topic, it's kind of dry. And you were just kind of pushing me to just maybe push the edges a little bit, even if it was a kind of inappropriate joke.
Yeah, I just like that. Like as someone who isn't into like self-help content really a lot, or even like productivity content or minimalism content, like I just have never been drawn to that type of content. I find, and this is obviously with some degree of some heavy degree of bias, but I find like, I think what deters me away from a lot of that content is that it's, to me, unrelatable in the way that like the voice that's guiding me through that content. Like doesn't sound like a voice that I know. It doesn't sound like a voice that I would hang out with. It doesn't sound like a voice that is imperfect. You know what I mean? And then like I feel like when you're able to crack a dick joke in a video about minimalism or productivity, you know, or increasing your drive, it's kind of like just I find it refreshing.
Yeah.
But
kind of like the voice of a friend. And I think that's the thing, is that there's too many people that are trying.
Well, we don't need to take ourselves seriously. Yeah. You know, it's like you can still be driven and motivated and be optimizing your life, but you don't need to be super serious. Like you can just have fun doing it.
It's very easy to fit ourselves into boxes based upon other people's templates, other things that people have done.
Yeah.
So it's easy to see Seth Godin or Tony Robbins and say, oh, I need to have a personality like them to be successful. Yeah. Or if I want to be able to teach anything, I need to do it in the same style as them. And that's like the one differentiator for anybody that's making stuff online, is just to put your own personality into it.
Yeah.
And like maybe like you're listening to this and you're not funny, but that's okay. There's probably something unique that you could bring to the conversation.
You don't have to be funny. You just have to be authentic.
Yeah. And and like, what did you say? You said that my videos are mildly entertaining.
Yeah. I think I said to you one night, I was like, I think I've realized why your videos work on YouTube. And you're like, why? And I was like, because they're mildly entertaining. Like, you know, it's one of those, I feel like I spend a lot of time watching social videos on Facebook or on Instagram or YouTube. And I'm like, huh. And like, they'll crack a joke and I'll just be like, And like, when you're watching it by yourself, you're just like, huh. And I'm like, I feel like that's your style too. Like I'm never sitting, maybe I just don't think you're that hilarious, but I'm never sitting there like tears rolling down my face like this guy. Like I'm not doing that, but like I'm just like, that was mildly entertaining.
Yeah. And I think that obviously then there's some moments where maybe the joke is really good, or just like the timing or the footage I captured is really funny. Like I think that the video I did with Josh and Ryan where like they were naked inside their studio.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Yeah. And then like you will see some people be like, I actually laughed out loud at this point.
Yeah, I actually did too.
Yeah. And I think that's great. But I think part of that, like or like, that's really interesting. It's like you're continually keeping the story engaging and you're continually pulling people in. And I don't think that you have to be laugh out loud funny. Like not everybody's Dave Chappelle.
But also sometimes I'm not in the mood for laugh out loud funny, you know, because even that feels like effort.
It's kind of, like, it's kind of messed up, right? Like when you even watch a comedy album, you're like, you have to be in the right energy mode. You can't be kind of lazy and wanting to watch something passive if you're going to watch a comedy special. Yeah. Because laughing takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I try not to be too funny.
Yeah, okay. I think we deviated from the question.
No, that's totally fine. I think even if we get through just even like 3 or 4 questions, I think we could save these for another podcast. Would you be willing to do it again?
Yeah.
What if we just did this every month? Okay, I think, we fully got through that one. Mauricio Camacho. We love Nat. If you guys plan on having kids, what would be the ideal number? Any names? And any ideas that you already have in mind for your wedding?
Okay. Oh my God, this will be fun. So for the number of kids, let's say it on the count of 3 together.
Okay.
Okay, so on 3.
Okay.
1, 2,
12. What? No, yeah, 2.
Mauricio, you're tearing us apart. We just watched The Room recently.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it's very good, very funny. But 12 kids is what we're gonna go for.
Yeah. Okay. We're not having a litter.
You come up from a family with 2 kids.
Yeah, we're definitely
from a family with
2
7.
kids.
And I kind of always growing up, I always thought I was gonna have a big family, but then I found something I really love to do in life, and I just realized that having 7 kids is just a full-time job. I
Yeah.
don't think it would be manageable.
Yeah.
Also, it just seems stressful.
We're definitely having 2 kids.
2 kids.
Also, we already have a name.
Yes.
Little baby Frankie.
Franklin. So it started out as a joke. I don't know how it started.
Yeah, it was like, I think it's because we decided to take it upon ourselves to name your nephew River.
River. Yeah, I think
Wait, it was River and what else was it?
Yeah, well, Mark.
Sebastian.
Sebastian. Mark and Courtney were in the hospital.
Hopefully there's no Rivers or Sebastians listening.
Yeah, I feel bad. Or River Sebastian. My brother Mark and his wife Courtney were in the hospital about to give birth to their first baby. And then we just started spreading a rumor through text that the baby's name is Sebastian. Or like we were just like, what's like the lamest name? And now I feel bad if somebody's name actually is Sebastian. But then everybody's like, oh my God, that's adorable. Sebastian.
Oh,
Sounds like a
River.
name of a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, or River.
But yes, we ran along that line and we're like, what's a really silly name to call our kid? And we're like, oh my God, Franklin. But over time, I've really fallen in love with the name Franklin.
Yeah, and my grandpa's name actually is Frank.
And I love Frankie. Like little Frankie.
Yeah, little Frankie. I'm kind of into it.
Me too.
So as long as we don't have 2 girls.
I think a girl could be Frankie.
Yeah. Kids in a couple of years. We're preparing for it.
Yeah.
A lot of people said oh my God, somebody left a funny YouTube comment recently. It was like they were being like, I think they were kind of trying to be really mean, but at the same time, I found it just very funny. They were just saying like, I cannot wait until you have kids and your entire life falls apart and this minimalism thing can't hold up.
Yeah, you don't have time to twirl your spoon as you like.
But I don't know. I think that like
cup.
we can see it from the outside. We can see the parents that have tons of stuff. And to me, it just seems like a little bit crazy, a little bit chaotic, and like all the hand-me-downs. It seems like they collect all the toys that are given to them. And I think that we would just continue to be really thoughtful about, we don't want to live in a house where we're like stumbling over toys every which way we go.
I mean, I think it's safe to say we would hope that we could continue to be thoughtful about that. But we really don't know what the pressures are like until we have our own kids. You know what I mean? Like we can be intentional about things, but we can't sit here and be like, we're not going to be like that. 100% no way. Like, we don't know what it's like.
You have to be flexible.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the one thing, like Mark, my brother, like he's like, it's great to have different option of toys, because when your kid gets distracted and you're like, okay, let's try the bouncy thing. Okay, that's not working. Let's try the shaky thing. Let's try the bong bong thing. And then eventually he finds one that actually works and keeps his kid quiet for like 15 minutes. So, I mean, I totally agree.
But at what point, like, I mean, you'll always want more toys at that, if that's the justification too.
Yeah, I think
there'll be times when none of those toys, none of the jumpy, bouncy, noisy toys work. And then you're like, oh my God, I need another toy. Like,
I think so. I think that's our intuition, is that like we probably would err on the side of curbing it, or maybe like even have just a certain amount of bins that we would fill, and then beyond that, we're not going to continue to get more toys.
Yeah.
We're not going to have like the race tracks going throughout the entire house or the train tracks.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Like we never know. We don't know where we're going to be living, what kind of house we're going to be in, what our circumstances are going to be like at that point.
But I just think we just need to I think it is what we are doing right at this stage is just setting the intention. You know what I mean? Because if we're just aware of that intention and we try and keep focused on it, that's the best thing I think we can do.
And in terms of our wedding, a minimalist wedding? Not quite.
Nope.
Not quite. I would say it's definitely an intentional wedding.
What makes it intentional?
I don't know. It's such a...
That's such an overused word. I know that I use it too
it's such a fluffy word too. I mean, but here's the thing. I would say it's intentional in that we are not just picking up traditions for tradition's sake. We are throwing out the traditions we don't need. We're not sending out like physical save the dates. We're not sending out physical invitations. Everything's digital. Everybody's got an email address. And that's not even about money. That's just about convenience for us. And it couldn't possibly be...
Yeah, I can't imagine wasting time on sealing 100 envelopes.
Oh my God, all that stuff. Yeah. And like, we're just trying to make it as simple as possible. And
like some people might care about having a keepsake invitation that you're able to like hold on to and your parents are able to hold on to. And like, if that matters to you, absolutely do it. But it just didn't matter to us.
Yeah. But I mean, it's going to be in Italy. So it's not going to be that simple.
In Puglia.
And my family is already stressed out about it. My mom's been saving for like a year. My dad got his passports renewed 2 years ago, and
before we were engaged.
when we told him that, if we do get married, it's probably going to be in Italy or in Europe somewhere. And like he's like he got ahead of the game, but so there's I think a lot that's going to come with that. How do you feel about it right now in terms of early stages? I mean, we've got the venue booked, but we haven't really done much else besides that.
I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. I don't want to say I'm not stressed. I'm a little bit nervous about everyone feeling comfortable about traveling. Like, your family, my family.
Your family travels quite a bit.
Yeah, but I still think, but like, they're still like, my parents aren't young. So like, this venue is kind of like off the beaten track. Like, will they, it's like, of course, everyone's going to be fine, but it's just more like, I just want everyone to feel like really comfortable and confident in being able to get there.
Yeah.
I don't want this. I think I'm more nervous about this being a cause of stress for people, and I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So just trying to do what we can to help alleviate that. But I just think it's, with my family being in Australia and your family being from the States, I just think like that it's a really nice idea to get married not in one person's country, but in somewhere where we can all like be there for vacation.
Yeah.
So it's like we're all on the same page and we're all like, this is a vacation for everyone versus like some people from out of town feeling a little bit like disarmed or something, or you know what I mean? Like not feeling like completely comfortable with other people being like, oh, my
everybody's
house
gonna
down
be in
the street. Like,
everybody's gonna be in the same boat.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think actually just pushing my family to do something like this, because I mean, obviously I grew up with a big family, and the only vacation we had was it would be going to our cabin, which was a maybe 3-hour drive away, or going to Dorney Park, which was an amusement park near New Jersey where I grew up. And I think not having a lot of money and being from a big family, we never took a family trip on a plane. Like that never happened. It happened when we were adults. We went to Colorado and it was just like maybe half of the family. But I think actually doing something like this is going to be kind of fun just to see. It's going to be a little bit crazy, but that kind of the craziness, everybody's got to figure it out. They're all adults now. They can figure out like itinerary and how to get to
and like it's
venue.
Italy. Like we're not like it's so safe.
Yeah.
Like we're not throwing people into
Andre Passos. Hi guys. I think it could be cool to talk about how you two manage work time and your time together, since Matt has his own work hours. I know you've already mentioned it a bit, especially in the last episode of the Ground Up Show, but I think it could be interesting to explore this theme a bit further and give some practical tips.
Oh, it's really hard. It's really hard to give practical tips because I think we've got it far from perfect.
Well, yeah, maybe we don't give tips and we just say what we do.
How we balance our work life and our personal lives together. Ooh, well, my work life is very demanding. Like I would say most weekends I'm working. I generally get home from work anywhere between, on a good day it's 6 o'clock, 6:30. On a bad day it's
honest.
9:30. I'm working. Yeah. I'm still working. So that's really tricky because what I personally find hard is being able to find time for myself and my relationships and my relationship with Matt. And so what we've tried to, I think last year especially, we got in a pattern of just working every weekend because there's always more work to do. And it was like, oh, you're working? Great. I can use that time to work too. Oh, you're working this weekend? Oh, vice versa. And I just think we've really fell in a pattern of all of a sudden we're just working every weekend. Even if the work wasn't critical, like if it wasn't like, I'm on deadline here. And I think I became really aware of that. So we're trying to commit to a no work Saturdays. Which
has been evolving into an outdoor Saturdays.
Yeah. So it's not just a no work Saturdays, but like, let's get out of the house and like do something, like go for a hike or go to the beach. So this is a very new initiative that we're doing together. And in the very first weekend of us deciding to do no work Saturdays, I had to work that Saturday. So it's going well. But
that's probably the only one, I think, so far this year.
Yeah.
For the most part.
I think so. I think you're right. Yeah.
But I think it's like understanding that that's going to happen sometimes.
Yeah.
When you have pitches or a big project or a deadline, when you're on a sprint towards a deadline, you have to do those things.
Yeah.
But I like having rules. I know you're not big on rules, but I think that you kind of
think it's
see where it's
important.
necessary to have it.
It's important, and like, yeah, I felt like we were getting in a stage where we were spending a lot of time together, obviously, because we live together, but we weren't spending a lot of quality time together, and like, you know, being buzzword of the podcast, intentional.
Nice. Ooh, that could be the new name of the podcast.
No,
the intentional
it's a
secret
hashtag.
podcast. I think actually what's difficult for you too is having a little bit of a buffer. Because imagine these days where you're working till 6:30. I mean, you say good day, 6:30. You get home. Bad days, you get home 9 to 10. It doesn't happen as often, I think, but
The 9 to 10s doesn't happen.
Not
It's
that
more
often,
Like, it's
but
more
still,
like I'll
like,
come home and work.
you get home at 6:30. Yeah, you get home at 6:30, and then you kind of want some space. I think that was something we had to learn when we first started dating, is just knowing when to give each other some room.
Yeah.
Even if that's like for you, you know, you haven't been on your phone all day, you haven't been able to message and chat with your friends or go see what your friends are up to on Instagram, especially having your friends all over the world. I think it was just knowing that, okay, we do need to know when to give each other some space, even if we haven't seen each other all day.
Yeah. I agree. But yeah, I would say that we have it, Andre, we have it far from perfect. And I still think it's something that we're trying to figure out.
I think the one thing that happened with my work and my work schedule that changed is probably before we met, my hours were a little bit more sporadic. I definitely worked more weekends. I know when we started dating, we just started making plans every single weekend. And, you know, depending on the job that you had, you would normally have the full weekend to be able to do something, an extra day to be able to do, hey, let's do a 3-day weekend somewhere. There was much more flexibility. So I had to stop my work Friday night. And then I think even being a freelancer, I would work a little bit later sometimes. Sometimes I would work at night. But then once we started dating, I just shifted my schedule to be more like yours.
Yeah.
So I start working around 8 a.m.
You're like a parent with a newborn. It's like when the baby sleeps, you sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when she's working, I work.
Yeah. But I just wouldn't feel right if like you got home from work and I just kept working for hours. Like it's
Yeah.
very rare that I will continue working once you get home.
Yeah,
It's usually like
actually,
right when
that-
you get
that
home,
happens.
I turn my computer off and then and that's even an opportunity maybe for you to do your own thing. But I just know I shouldn't continue working. Maybe I'll make dinner or I'll read a book or do something else.
Yeah.
But I think I kind of shifted my schedule to fit more into the 9 to 5 type corporate life, which is probably good. It's just more structure. It's a bit more rigid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we've done a pretty good job, but I think you can always do better. I think rules definitely help. Rules and
Yeah.
boundaries. You had a great rule when you were working in New York where you said, "Will not bring my laptop home."
I know. That was actually, that was a really good one. So I refused to bring my laptop home unless I absolutely needed to do work, which created distance between, you know, like when you're physically carrying around your work with you, you're of course mentally carrying it as well. And, you know, unfortunately, I can't do that at my current job because I left my laptop at work and it got stolen. So,
Yeah.
and I got slapped on the wrist for it. So
Which is
now
your
I need
fault.
to,
But it
now
was
I need to
what
bring
I-
my laptop home with me.
It was against the corporate kind of environment. And I think things were even said to you about you bringing your
Right.
laptop.
It was like, oh yeah, like how many, are you working enough hours? And I was like, yeah, why? And I was like, oh, because we've noticed that you don't bring your laptop home. And I was like, well, why do I need to if I'm finishing all my work? Or like, why should I be bringing my laptop home? So like, that's to me completely dysfunctional
it's infuriating
leadership.
in a lot of ways.
If I have to say that, like, I think that leadership has to encourage work-life balance, and I just think that was the wrong message sent. This was a few jobs ago, but
Yeah.
it was,
Not cool.
not cool.
But anyway, I did I respected you for that because I even said I'm kind of sometimes a bit political with it. So I would even say, why don't you just bring your laptop home and just, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do any work. Just leave it in your bag. But you said, no, this is something that I really believe in. And I think that I shouldn't be bringing my laptop home. And I really respected that
Well,
choice.
I've just noticed personally that I have a tendency to get sucked into work a lot, and it really like engulfs me mentally. And I I've tried to create these barriers to ensure that that doesn't continue to happen. So it's things like leaving my laptop at home. It's things like not working on weekends, but you know, I think it's tough.
Okay, so Anthony Masterson. Hey guys, my girlfriend and I are in a similar situation to the both of you. I'm a minimalist and she isn't. We live in a small studio apartment and space is tight. I don't own a lot of stuff, but my girlfriend has a soft addiction. Not really that soft, to makeup. Any advice?
Really?
Yeah. Any advice for getting her to see what it's like from my point of view?
I mean, the way I thought this was going to go was like with clothes, shoes, like
Yeah.
they take up a lot of room. Makeup, when I say like that much room, obviously I'm expecting she probably has a few drawers or a cupboard like just full of makeup, like as most girls do. I love beauty products and I have myself maybe 2 or 3 drawers full of, actually
Not a
3. Yeah, I do. You don't realize.
Compared to most people, is that, you think you have more than most people?
The thing is, I have a lot of beauty products, like skincare. I don't actually have a lot of makeup. I have a lot of skincare.
Yes, you do.
But
Well, because you're about skincare, not makeup.
yeah. But I think it's like I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say without knowing how much room this is taking up of your apartment. But like, my question is it taking up a lot of room? Because if it isn't, I think it's actually a creative pursuit. Like, it's clearly her passion. It's definitely a source of creativity and an output of creativity. And like, I mean, I see the value in it.
I think, so it's one thing for her to understand your point of view. I think also you could understand her point of view. I think it runs both ways. And I think you should understand each other's perspectives and understand each other's choices, but also respect each other's choices. So the fact that you have a lot of makeup or you have a lot of beauty products, like, that's totally cool. Maybe if you're living in a small New York City apartment and there's, you know, he did say he's in a small studio apartment. So maybe there's a way that you can help organize each other's stuff, you know, just in the same way. It has to be done, I think, with the respect and understanding.
Yeah, maybe it's like an organizing system where it's like actually getting, like going to the Container Store and actually getting like compartmentalized like storage for makeup. But like, I mean, I don't know. It depends. I don't know how much room this is taking up, possibly, because like even I've seen makeup artists and they usually have like a almost like a travel suitcase that's like it's a black heavy box. But like that in itself doesn't take up that much room. But like I don't know.
But I think studio apartments, we've seen some tight studio apartments. That can mean a lot of different things. But if it's a small studio, any amount of anything, it can be
I'm wondering if like makeup's very expensive. So I'm wondering if it's like, is it actually like a space problem or is it like a financial problem? And she's got a soft addiction to like buying a lot of makeup.
Yeah. You're together not because of the stuff that you own. You're together because of the relationship that you have with each other. And I think to continue to work on that. Don't let the stuff get in the way of the relationship. You know, even if you're a minimalist, I think that's one of the things that like when you first get into it, when we were
living in New York, I had a drawer in the kitchen dedicated to my beauty.
Yeah.
Like if you people would open up a drawer in the kitchen thinking they're about to get like a fork or a knife, and they just get like an avalanche of makeup.
Yeah. I think when I first got into minimalism, I thought that I needed to find somebody that was a minimalist, that had the same exact values and ideas that I did about it. And then I went on a lot of dates in New York, a lot of Tinder dates, a lot just meeting as many people as I could, because I would have these, it would just be instant that I would know. It would be, oh, okay, yeah, no, this person definitely isn't, I'm not connecting with this person. I'm not enjoying my conversation, the time spent with this person. So then it very quickly for me became about finding that person that I could bip and bop with, that I could really relate to, versus finding somebody that had the same kind of stuff I had, the same amount of stuff I had. So that should be like the last thing that you worry about. And it's, I mean, I think that's why we often give that advice, is like, maybe it's an organization problem. If it's for
maybe
me,
it feels like it's clutter.
Yeah, I like living in a home that's not cluttered. So for us, it's if you do have a lot of shoes, or if I have a lot of books or camera gear, it's finding ways to organize it to make sure you're not tripping over it, and then you can both.
And maybe it's something you could do together. Like you've definitely offered to help organize my cosmetic drawers because they give you a heart attack. Like, remember how like you've done yours with the tray? Like, maybe it's like something you could do together. Like, you go to the container store together. You could like pick it out together. Maybe she needs like your help in like trying to like actually seeing the purpose and like the value in like organizing some of it. And like, whoa, this is like a lot easier to find my makeup brushes now. And you know, maybe I don't know.
Let's be fully clear here, though. I offered, and you said no.
Because I thrive in chaos.
Yeah, that's what you said. You like the chaos of it?
I thrive in chaos.
Which is fine by me.
Yeah.
As long if it's in a drawer, I don't care.
Yeah.
All right, so we got the Wholesome Comment Award of the day from Matthew James. I'm an entrepreneur like you, where my work can be done at any time, anywhere, or all the time, everywhere. I'm engaged to my beautiful fiance, who is a full-time student and likewise has a pretty free schedule, but whenever she's out of class, we spend all of our time together, which I absolutely love. But I'm finding it more and more difficult to balance everything because I never have the opportunity to really focus and get work done because we're always having fun.
Oh my God. Best relationship ever.
Wholesome Comment Award. But I also have tons of work that needs to get done, so I'm constantly on my phone and laptop trying to get 15 minutes here and there. The result is me always feeling behind and always scrambling to get some work done, and her feeling like I'm always working. How have you two, as a couple, make sure that this isn't a problem, making quality time while also letting each other get real work done? Now, I think we did cover this quite a bit already, but I did want to just... Matthew James, what a wholesome comment.
Yeah, I know. Can we ask you some advice?
Yeah.
Like,
how do you guys have
why
so
do you
much...
guys love each other so much?
Why do you guys have so much fun together?
Yeah, I know. What a foreign concept.
I do think that setting up rules and boundaries are important.
Yeah.
I think if...
Sure.
Also... I think maybe have an idea of if you're maybe just starting a business out, you're an entrepreneur, you're just starting to get something off the ground, maybe have that conversation and let your partner know that it's probably going to be a bit of a grind for the next 6 months or so. Like you're really going to be putting in some extra time. And that certainly happened with me when I was working on minimalism, when I started to create original content. You knew that I was going to be putting more hours in than I normally would. There were still things I didn't sacrifice during that time. Like I did every weekend, I wasn't working nonstop.
Yeah.
So it was still saying, you know what, even though I am grinding and I'm working harder than normal, I'm still not going to let it interfere 100% with my relationship.
It sounds like, do you think Matthew James isn't getting like just like periods of focus, right? Like
I don't think it's going to be helpful to like just be distracted all the time.
Yeah, like you need to be able to like, again, draw those boundaries to just find periods of focus for yourself, whether that means needing to be away from your girlfriend, needing to be by yourself, like, and actually like really exercise like restraint as well. And like to you know, ensure that you're granting yourself those periods of focus so that you're able to like enjoy the time you're spending with her.
Yeah, Jocko Willink says his whole philosophy is discipline equals freedom, which is a little bit counterintuitive because you think freedom, you could do whatever you want, whenever you want. But you have to have a lot of discipline to say, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. to get 2 hours of work done because then I have to go to my day job.
Yeah.
Or on Sundays, I'm dedicate 5 hours in the early morning before my partner wakes up or 3 hours before they wake up to get the work done I need to get done so I can spend time with them.
And if you're working alongside each other, like it's not working, then it's just, you have to realize and allow yourself to wake up to the fact that it's just not working. And so like you need to just be able to create those times of separation so you can get some work done, and then even schedule times to like see each other, you know, and be like, okay, I'm going to work today, but like at 5 o'clock I'm stopping working and we're going to go out to a really nice dinner and like hang out the entire night, you know.
You're going to take me out to dinner?
That is a no.
No.
But like, why are they having so much fun together?
Yeah, what the heck,
What?
Matthew James?
It's like, I just love her so much. What do I do?
I know, I told you, wholesome comment. That's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I can't
wholesome comment.
Yeah, I should get a sound effect for the wholesome comment award of the day. Cool. That's it. That's all the questions. I mean, honestly, we didn't go.
Thank God, I'm exhausted.
Tiring, isn't it? Podcasting?
Yeah, I've yawned a few times. I'm sorry.
Dude, honestly, I saw your eyes. They
Glaze
started
over.
glazing over.
I had a coffee and everything. I'm really
I know.
tired.
Your eyes are still glazy.
I know.
What is it about talking with me that makes you so tired?
Mildly entertaining.
Mildly entertaining. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Secret Podcast. Natalie Pitting, bravo. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
See you next time. Bye now.
Bye.